right. So hello everyone. This is Monsef Afkar, and thank you so much for joining us in this new call of your divine uniqueness. As always, happy to have you with us on the live shows, and we'll be also connecting with those who will be listening on or watching the replay, because energetically, like we are being together at maybe at the same moments, maybe not the time that we are experiencing as humans, but we are still connected. And so also very, very happy that Miriam Katz is back on the show. It's been a while that she joined us the last time, maybe a couple of years ago. And first, like what I really love about her is the energy first that she embodies, and how she holds the space for us and for people who work with her, so they can feel really safe in a loving and accepted space. And we felt that in the shows we had with her before on the show on Your Divine Uniqueness, and also the guidance, how she guides us to really understand the trauma, to release any dense energies that's how to say, maybe keeping us stuck on some limiting beliefs, not believing in who we are, in our sovereignty, and keeping us creating in a way that really is limiting us. And I love how she reminds us of the true power that we have as part of if we may call it the one, or the that is within the master creator that is within. And so very, very happy that she's back with us on the show. And for those of you who are new to her, she is a shamanic healer and teacher who channels the divine feminine energy of the goddess in all her forms. And today's call will be about the sacred shift, activating your inner goddess to master life's new paradigm. So she will be sharing about that, and also we'll have a Q&A later on the call, where she will be doing mini readings for you. So as always, if you are on Zoom, you can raise your hand by pressing reactions, then raise hand. If you are on the phone, you can raise your hand by pressing *9. And also you can type your questions on the chat boxes on Zoom and also on YouTube. And so with that, Miriam, welcome back to the show. Happy to have you with us.
Thank you, Monsef. I'm so happy to be here, and it's such a treat to see you, because the last time I was on, we were over the phone, and it's a whole different level of engagement and connection, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's very different. It's like we only see one dimension of the person we connect with, but when we see it on video, we see them, we see how they move their face. It's I don't know, for me it feels more fun, and we feel more connected that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so in the beginning, for those of our audience who are new to you, I would love if you can tell us about yourself and also your work.
Absolutely. So I've been doing shamanic healing for about 10 years now. And before that, more straight energy work, Reiki, which I call the gateway drug to energy healing. It's like, if you find yourself in the world of energetics, Reiki tends to be very readily available and just this wonderful entry point. And my path has been one of spiraling deeper and deeper, continuing to follow my inner prompts, which is my own divine voice, and to find myself connecting to source on more and more personal and profound levels. So since when we last talked, I was very deeply working with the School of Hebrew Shamanism, which I co-founded. And that was my work of going back to my ancient ancestors to find their shamanic roots. And the deeper I went with that, the more the goddess kept appearing. And when I say appearing, I work in non-ordinary states through the tool of shamanic journeying, which after years of practice, it's easy to just drop into non-ordinary states of consciousness and realities. And so the more that I worked with my ancestors, including Miriam the prophet, who's become a primary ancestral helping spirit for me, the more I found the goddess showing up and saying, we are at the roots of monotheism. We are at the roots of all of the practices that you've been kind of exploring. And not that, monotheism was not my path. It was what I was born into. And so I have all these lingering questions of like, what were my ancestors practicing? That kind of thing. But the deeper I journeyed, the more the goddess kept appearing and saying, I was here before all of this. And so my work with the goddess has evolved to the point where goddess is no longer something that I worship outside of myself, nor is the divine. There's become this clarity, this reality that each of us is a vessel, or I like to say a well, for divine presence. And the more we clear out our well, which shamans would talk about creating a hollow bone, the more we can channel spirit, which for me is goddess, the more I connect to what the personality of that spirit is, and the more we can become the divine beings that we already are. And so in this paradigm that we've recently shifted into, this, you could call it a new age. I know that term is kind of loaded, but in this new paradigm that we've entered, for me, this is the age of the goddess. And we are all goddess. We are all divine beings. And so this is about uncloaking, unmasking, taking any blocks away that help us that stand in the way of connecting to our own divine inheritance and awakening the power, the gifts within, so that we can be medicine for this world, which so desperately needs it.
Yeah, absolutely. I really love that. And so yeah, and also I feel that it's like you said, it's time to remember the divine within, or the goddess, or the god, however we can call that. And I can see that starting to be reflected in our lives, whether personally and also as collectives. Because I've seen a lot of change happening on the collective level. Maybe there are some events that are maybe challenging, but also at the same time, I see more love coming, more openness to each other, and more acceptance at the same time. And I believe this is a result to something that is happening within us, and then we start seeing that on the collective. So also you mentioned that this time is about a very deep shift. So I would love if you can tell us about that, and like from your own perspective.
Yes. And Monsef, because you mentioned that this is a challenging time, I'll also address that, because this age that we're moving into isn't all about love and light. In fact, that's been the mistake, the spiritual bypassing mistake that we've been making as a people, as spiritual people, is to say, oh, it's all about ascension. It's all about connecting to spirit. And my darkness, my wounds, my things that I might label as negative or bad, I'm going to shove those down. I'm going to pretend they don't exist. And so what we're seeing now in the collective is this rising of the shadow into our consciousness, into a way that it can't be ignored. And this is happening in many different ways on the planet, where we're seeing these old wounds that have not been healed, traumas that are held across different peoples and different continents, and chaotic times, also anxiety-ridden times. And these collective shadows are rising up so that we can look at them and we can reclaim what has been disowned and what has been lost. And this is one of the gifts of the goddess. So to me, the best way to explain the power and the fullness of the goddess is to look at the moon. So the moon has cycles. The moon is light and bright and shines light, or radiates light, right? Reflects it. And she also is dark, right? She has that full totality of darkness, and she has those spectrums in between of, the cycling through light and dark. And we are the same way by design. We have entered into a human experience in which we get to experience contrast and constriction, so that we can really revel in the power that we have as we grow into it, as we remember it and expand it. And so when we see events that are happening outside of ourselves that are triggering us, maybe they're triggering old inherited trauma, ancestral trauma, or things that happened early in life, these are actually medicine, even though they are not the medicine that we would necessarily deliver, right? We don't want to swallow that painful pill. And yet when we allow ourselves to open up to the gifts or to recognize the gifts of the darkness, we can find the aspects of ourselves that we have disowned, that we have locked away in shadow, and find that our greatest power and our greatest light actually resides in the dark. And so for me, dark doesn't mean bad. Dark is shrouded in mystery. It's hidden, it's secretive. And the lightest, some of the spiritual teachings that for me have resonated most profoundly is that our brightest light is hidden in the darkness. And so if we work with the dark aspect of goddess, who I call the dark goddess, we can reclaim our shadow aspects, both personally and collectively, and become the whole divine empowered beings that we were meant to be, that we are at our core.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, and I love how you compare the goddess to the moon. And I believe like this is an invitation to really fully embrace the human experience, like because we are having this experience now in this lifetime as humans, even though we believe that we are coming from different parts of the universe, but still this is a human experience that we are having. And because also like you mentioned, in the spiritual community we talk mainly about ascension and the lights, but sometimes we try to avoid the dark parts, the shadow parts, and the more we resist that, the more the journey becomes more challenging and difficult. And yeah, so I really love that, because also it brings at the same time some relief and some acceptance to those parts of us that maybe we try to hide or try to suppress.
Yeah. I have a story about that. My latest endeavor is a partnership with two soul sisters we've created the School of Goddess Shamanism, and we'll be talking about what that looks like later. But one of these two sisters, we had a shadow sleepover. So I'll explain what that means and how profound that was for me. This sister, her real name is Kimberly, but she goes by her soul name, which is North Star, which really speaks to who she is, this bright light who is just radiant. But when we had our first sleepover, she lives on a Herkimer diamond mine, which is like the most incredible thing, because not only is it this beautiful land, but after walking onto the land, you start to feel a little bit different. And then over time, you start to realize that not only have things shifted profoundly from a consciousness perspective, but it's like being in another realm. It is altered reality. And so I entered into her land to come stay the night before doing a fire walk, my first one the next day. And as I was sitting there with her, I realized it was the first time we hadn't been in ceremonial space. We were alone, just the two of us. And I had all these insecurities coming up. And because we have such a safe friendship, sisterhood, I said, I'm just going to speak exactly what's on my heart. And I'm going to tell you exactly how I'm feeling right now, because I know you can hold that. And we made an agreement with each other to say the hardest thing and then the next hardest thing, and to hold that space for each other. And so what we ended up doing was disrobing kind of in an internal way of like taking all our insecurities, all of the fears, all of the humanness that we carry around and try to smother and pretend like it's not there, the masks we wear, and we took them off. And it was such a profound experience, because I'm crying like as I'm talking about it, because it was this opportunity to say like, I'm human and I carry these scars of being human, and so do you. And I can own that here in this profoundly safe place, and I can hold that for you. And as a result of that time together, not only has it deepened our relationship to the point that we're just shadow sisters no matter what, so we can say the unsayable things and know that we will be held and respected, and some things are challenging and we can hold that. But it helped me to unburden myself in a way that I didn't realize that I needed. Just that opportunity to clear out the things that I had believed. And in the light of day, once you speak these unspeakable things like, oh, my insecurities, you realize that they're really nothing. They're figments, and we all carry them. And so that's the kind of spirit that North Star and I and our third co-founder Sarah are going into this collaborative vision with, which is to hold the space for others to profoundly uncloak themselves from the inside, to own our wounds, our inheritance, like who we are, how we mask ourselves, and to allow that space so that we can hold the totality of the person. And in that profoundly safe space, our divinity emerges, because it's no longer hiding. It's like we are these profoundly perfect beings at our core, and then we believe that we're not, and then we try to put on masks as if we're perfect, right? And it's like you got to first shed the perfection mask, and then hold and own the darkness, the things that we believe about ourselves, and only then can our light, our divine light, emerge from the depths, and we realize we actually were those perfect beings all along, but not in the way that we thought.
Yeah, it's very beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that, because yeah, it takes courage to really show who we are as we are, uh, without pretending, without hiding, and finding someone to feel that safe with. It can be very, very helpful, because we realize that in the end, love is our essence, no matter how the appearance looks, our own appearance, or maybe the things of parts of us that we are judging, either us or maybe the culture we are in, or other people they are judging. But also, I believe that the more we have those, maybe we know people like that, or communities, it can help us also at the same time to build more courage, so we can show up to the world as we are, without fear of being judged, or misunderstood by others.
Yes, that's exactly it. And that's what Kimber, North Star, and I are trying to offer. That's what we are offering by creating a container that mirrors the safety that we have in our friendship, in our sisterhood, so that
Yeah,
other women, we're specifically working with women and holding space for women, can own their totality, and not just the aspirational self, that which we want to be, but maybe we don't think we ever could be, right? Because we think we're broken and fragmented. And we are broken and fragmented, but it's more surface than you might imagine. It's like another form of the human illusion. And again, the more we own our totality and have that safe container to be held and recognized, and have our divine essence recognized, the more that we can emerge or wake from the slumber of believing ourselves to be something less, something other, and somehow less worthy than others.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And like when we talk about being fragmented, or the shadow aspects or the dark aspects of us, um, we may misunderstood it that maybe we are not ready to receive what we deserve, or if we deserve it now and we just need to wait. It's so like, how can we maybe move through a space where embody both the light and the dark of ourselves, and independently be able to create as sovereign beings?
Yeah. Well, first, it's about having that recognition, and not just like from a conceptual level, but making it a practical piece of our spiritual practice, is to recognize that everything that is inside of me, that is of me, is worthy, right? It may be masked, it may be shielded, it may be protecting me from some past hurt, but at its core, it is divine light. And so that unmasking and unshielding is really the key to finding and reclaiming the pieces, the fragmented pieces of treasure that we are. You know, it's like you look at this divine paradigm of this oneness, this unity consciousness that has fragmented itself into human forms and tree forms and plant forms and animals and all of these and planets, right? All of these amazing pieces of the divine. We mirror that inside of ourselves as well. We have fragmented ourselves into different parts of ourselves that are holding different emotions and different behaviors and patterns. And I like to imagine ourselves, our hearts, like a big tent where we can gather up and hold all aspects of ourselves and welcome them into wholeness, and to recognize that when we have limiting patterns that may be frustrating to us, maybe it's procrastination, or maybe it's keeping people at arm's length, that we have developed those patterns so as to protect ourselves. And that work helped us to survive our childhoods and to arrive at this very moment where we have all of these resources to heal. And so to really honor the totality of who we are, of what we bring, of the challenges that have shaped us into this person, this divine being, these are all essential. And so sometimes, in order to create that environment where we can be the big tent for all of our parts of self, it can be helpful to be held in a community where that big tent energy is mirrored, is represented, and is modeled. And so to have people who are willing to hold the space with you where you can be more intimate with what your struggles are, what your beliefs are, what your aspirations are, and also your secret knowings of the divinity inside of you. That is key too. So it's not just about, okay, here are the ways that I believe and know myself to be broken, but also here are the whisperings that I'm getting from my soul, from my divine spark, that tell me that I have this power, this gift, or I'm here to share my medicine in a particular way on this planet. Those are crucial. And especially in these times with, you know, climate change and all of the things that are happening out in the world, like each of us carries a mission. Each of us carries medicine. That medicine is ultimately love, but that love, that passion will manifest in a different way for everyone. And so what is your medicine? What are you here to heal? How are you here to serve? That it's my job to hold those people so that they can bring their medicine to bear. They can change this world, because I believe we all have the capacity to. We just need to step up, and we need to be held as we step up, most of us.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. I love that. And yeah, this, like, you reminded us that everyone has their own gift and their own medicine that they can provide to others. And this really changed our perspective about maybe the challenges that we are having, and maybe help us to approach them in more, how to say, with a different perspective. Maybe sometimes it can be easier sometimes, but yeah, because those, like you mentioned earlier, the shadow aspect of us really holds some treasures that we can connect to and bring to the surface. And as we walk through that path, it becomes something that we are sharing with others. So yeah, thank you so much for that. And we will start taking questions a little bit. I have maybe one more question. As we talked about the shadow and the lights, and many times we see ourselves reacting to the shadow when it happens. We feel sad, angry, or frustrated. And when something maybe positive happen in the world, then we feel happy and joyful. And then I'm wondering, how do you see that joy? Is that authentic joy, or is it something just dependent on what is happening in the outer world?
For me, all joy comes from that deep inner wellspring of it's like if we had a joy fountain, then that joy can emerge. Joy is problematic if it's only accessible to us based on external circumstances, and that comes back to the piece about the well. So our well is this channel through which we can experience more of ourselves and more of these emotions that are divine energies, whether we recognize them as such, like joy, or whether we don't, like things like despair. These are also frequencies that are part of our inheritance, and they are meant to attune us to certain energies and to find different aspects of ourselves that we may be less willing and eager to go find, but they're just as shiny. It's like radiant diamonds. I'm picturing these gorgeous Herkimer diamonds, and they're just as shiny, just as luminous when we start to clear off the coal, and to find these energies. And so we don't want to be in a state where our joy depends on what's happening outside of us. We want to open our well so that we have more capacity to channel that joy. And we all have that capacity. It's just a matter of how much is in your well that needs to be cleared out so that you can have greater access, and you can say, right now I'm going to channel joy, right? Right now I'm going to channel this state and welcome that. And while we're on the subject of channeling these divine frequencies, I also want to talk about my other co-founder, whose name is Sarah Irwin, because what she does is she channels divine mother energies in this really profound kind of way. And again, I'm tearing up as I talk about it because she has this capacity to energetically hold. I'll speak for myself because she's a healer for me. We barter, and we have been for years, ever since we did a shamanic apprenticeship together about 8 years ago in Peruvian shamanism. And what she does is she has this capacity to hold you unconditionally, right? And it's like she's in Canada, I'm in the US, she's not even in the same space, but I can feel her hands energetically. And I can also hear when her voice shifts from the human voice that falters, that, is like the rest of us, to this clear state of flow and channeling. And so as we're building this beautiful, we talk about it as a woven basket, the school of goddess shamanism. We have this triad of these 3 different priestesses who are holding energies, and the energy that Sarah brings in is that of divine mother, this unconditionally loving mother that we all wish we had, or at least I wish I had. I love my mom. She's wonderful, right? But she's human. We all are. Even, I as a mom am also very human. Ask my kids, they'll definitely tell you so. But to be able to be held with this unconditional love that says every aspect of you is welcome here, even those parts of you that you might wish you didn't have, these are all pieces of you that I want to see, I want to know, because I love you from my depths. And that frequency is something that is rising on the planet. And when you find those rare gems of human beings who can hold those energies and channel those energies, it's worth sharing. And so I want to just give just huge love and gratitude to Sarah for holding that, and for her session that she did for me, that I still have the recording and I still listen to, because it puts me right in that state of flow. And so again, as we build this woven basket of the school of goddess shamanism and make these offerings for women to come and join and be part of this community, to have that divine mother, that great mother energy in there that is so nurturing and so tender, is valuable for me also as a facilitator, and for all of the women that we hold in that basket.
Yeah. Beautiful. Just the way you talk about her, like I really feel how beautiful the energy that she holds, and the gift that she can give you by like being in that container. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And yeah, we will talk about the offering that's you, Sarah, and Kimber are offering to our audience today. Just before that, I want to remind our audience that if you want to ask later your question, you can raise your hand by pressing reactions, then raise hand on Zoom, or *9 on your phone. And also you can type your questions on the chat boxes on Zoom and on YouTube. And I will share the link for it's Triple Goddess Circle. And the link is yourdivineuniqueness.com/Miriam, yourdivineuniqueness.com/Miriam, Miriam. Or you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live events page, later on the replay page. The link also on YouTube video description and the chat boxes on Zoom and YouTube. So yeah, Miriam, I would love if you can tell us about this circle.
Oh, yeah. So the Triple Goddess Circle is a 6-month experience where it's for women only, or for people who identify as women. It's virtual. You can do it from around the world. And for each month within the cycle, we will be offering a variety of different virtual offerings. So there's a new moon goddess Zoom, which is aligned with the energies of the new moon. And to remember that the energies of the new moon are the dark moon, right? When the light is just starting to emerge. And so this is a really powerful time for manifestation and for bringing things into reality. So in those Zooms, we'll be talking about some facet of the goddess. We talk about the triple goddess, whose aspects are mother, maiden, and crone. And so as we talk about goddess and reclaiming the totality of the human experience, we're honoring that entire cycle and not just the youth worshiping, version of womanhood that Western society tends to uphold, and venerate. We venerate all aspects of goddess, of womanhood, with all of its power and gifts. And we also are offering, so those are an hour every month, and those are live and recorded. So if you can't make it live, that's fine. We'll be sending out the link within a day. And then also we'll be offering full moon healing ceremonies as well. Those are 75 minutes. And the full moon, while it's that light-filled aspect of the moon, she's also reached the fullness of a cycle, and then she begins to shed. And so energetically, those are really powerful times for releasing of energy. So that's where the healing work comes in. And so those sessions will be led by the three of us, Kimber, Sarah, and myself, and we're all healers who bring in different aspects. Like Kimber is really talented at time bending, which is kind of amazing. She works with this spider guide. She calls her Spider Woman, who actually also is Kimber, right? The more we work shamanically, the more we start to realize that our allies are actually aspects of our own divinity. But what she does is she works with timelines, and she doesn't just see timelines as one thread, which is how I perceive them. She sees them as webs, that connect to different aspects of ourselves and other people, and she repairs those. It's quite magical. And so the three of us will be taking turns leading different healing Zooms at the time of the full moon. I will also, for a limited time, for those who are signing up, I will be offering Kundalini activations as well. So it's a 3-part series to have your Kundalini raised. And for those who have had spontaneous Kundalini awakenings, you know that it can be quite intense, that Kundalini energy is divine, feminine, fiery, sexual energy that runs up through our chakra system, our energy body. And so this is happening gradually. It's clearing out your chakras or your energy centers to allow for that energy to flow. And so for those who sign up at this time, they'll be able to pair those Kundalini activations and awakenings with the full moon healing ceremonies. We also will be offering a virtual container that offers counsel. So counsel is in the model that Kimber and I learned through our teacher, Tracy Forrest, in core shamanism, is about speaking from the heart and listening. So speaking with the mouth of the heart and listening with the ears of the heart. And so this virtual container will take place over Marco Polo, which is our favorite app for staying in touch because the three of us live in very different places. And it's this beautiful forum in which at first it's a little uncomfortable to see yourself on video and kind of leave messages, but it quickly becomes something that is just so beautiful because not only are you able to speak your truth and be heard and held and listened to by others anywhere around the world that they're tuning in from in this closed group, right? It'll be highly kind of facilitated and held by the three of us, the three priestesses. But also you get to watch yourself back when you are giving counsel, when you are speaking from the heart. And there's something profound in that because you're seeing your own divinity and your own humanness shine through. And for me, it's been a tremendous tool for self-growth, similar to mirror work. When you look in the mirror and you kind of look or speak to what is emerging, it's similar to that. And so we'll be offering that moderated counsel with an opportunity to debrief from your direct mystical encounters that you'll be having in these Zooms, right? So we call ourselves the School of Goddess Shamanism for a reason. Not only are we invoking and connecting with Goddess, which we define as that unifying spirit that's in everything. You could also call it God. For me, Goddess is more resonant. It's more alive. But we are also connecting to it with shamanic tools. So Sandra Ingerman is one of my teachers, and she calls shamanic journeying, which is one of our primary tools, the pathway to direct revelation, right? So we don't need to take other people's prophetic teachings from books. I mean, you can if you want, and that's some people's path, and it's wonderful, but this is the age of access. This is the age of realizing that we are all divine beings. And so when we clear ourselves out, our wells, and connect to that divine frequency, that transmission that's always there, we can connect to that power and we can shepherd each other into this new age as we sit in sacred ceremony together and in council together. So we have those two ceremonies that are happening every month for that 6-month period. We have that ongoing council space over Marco Polo that will allow us to debrief and allow the sisters in the circle to share what is going on with them, where they're at, and to be held by others and to develop deep relationships with people that they may never meet, but it doesn't matter because that soul to soul connection is there and that sisterhood is palpable. There are also some bonuses. So I can talk about those now, or I can talk about those later.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So I talked about the Kundalini activation. So that's a 3-part, energetic, remote energetic transmission to raise your Kundalini over time, opening your chakras and allowing that powerful energy to flow. Sarah will also be offering a DNA activation remotely, and it's recorded. So for those of you who have undergone DNA activation, I've been doing it with Sarah. I've also worked with some other practitioners to raise my own, to activate those spiritual strands of DNA that have been dormant. And Sarah does it quite beautifully. Again, I'm tearing up because I'm feeling that great mother energy that holds me with unconditional love, just as I summon the memory of that session. But she's going to be offering this recording that not only can you go through it once and activate whatever is ready to activate, but you can also wait. I'd give it at least 2 weeks to let your, the changes integrate, and then you can use it again and activate your next strands of DNA. And what this does is it brings on board these intuitive gifts, these spiritual energies and gifts, clairvoyance, all of these different things that the ancient yogis would call siddhis. We might see them as superhuman abilities, but they're actually just part of our divine inheritance that we've been blocked in accessing. So Sarah's offering that, and Kimber will be offering a live virtual yoga class that is about clearing the temple of the goddess. And for us, the body is the temple of the goddess. So, I've been talking about it as a well, but a temple is another word for it. And that goddess energy is that indwelling divinity that is inside of us. And so, how do we make that more palpable? We clear it out. And so, yoga, asanas, breath work, these are some ways to make your body a sacred space in which that divine spark wants to be seen, known, and experienced.
Beautiful. First, thank you so much, Miriam, to you and Kimber and Sarah for creating that space. Really beautiful space, and the support that you are providing to those who will be signing up. And also, I love that because it's a 6-month program, so there will be continuous support, and also because sometimes some aspects of us that are shifting, they take time so we can start seeing the results in the physical world, and having continuous support over time can really help us to move through that transition or that transformation with feeling more safe, and also make the experience more graceful, because many times when we receive support, one-time support, but then we may get maybe confused if we are doing the right thing or not, if things are happening in the right way or not. So yeah, I really love that, and I love that you are putting your energy, like the three of you together, this really loving, joyful, powerful energy together, and supporting others. So it's a really beautiful space that you are creating, and I feel honored to share that with my audience. So thank you so much. And yeah, so again, everyone, I invite you to sign up for this Triple Goddess Circle. And the link again is yourdivineuniqueness.com/Miriam, yourdivineuniqueness.com/Miriam, MIRIAM. Or you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live events page, later on the replay page. The link also on YouTube video description and on the chat boxes on Zoom and YouTube. And let's see. So yeah, just a reminder, everyone, you can ask your question by raising your hand on Zoom, by pressing reactions, then raise hand, or by clicking *9 on your phone, or by typing your questions on the chat boxes on Zoom and YouTube. And we have Sue on the phone. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hey, Sue.
Hi, Monisted. It is Sue. Hi, Miriam. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Okay. You were talking, I need a reading on this. You were talking about the shadow aspect, and I think right now I'm having a real dark day of the soul lately. There's something keeps coming up where my physical body wants to go home to my soul family. It comes and goes within the last week. I don't know if it's the energies on the planet right now. I've never really experienced this before, but it's so intense that I'll just sit there and I'll just get like really sad. Can you maybe, what is the purpose of this?
Yeah.
Like, why is this coming up now?
Yeah. From a collective perspective, the image that I'm getting is it's like we're clearing out the closet, and it's that closet that we've been shoving things into, and like shove it in and then like close the door really quickly because if you like give it another minute, everything's going to fall out. And it's time to clean out the closet, and it's not pleasant to face that. It can be completely overwhelming, and yet the steps make themselves clear to us by what is falling on our heads, right? It's like, what's that first thing that's falling on your head? And that's the sadness, that's the grief. And the tool that has been most profound for me in terms of working with these I don't call them negative emotions. I know practitioners who do, but for me, all emotions are medicine, right? And just like with homeopathic medicine, if there's something that's a
Mhm.
poison, a small dose of it is the medicine that you need, right? And so
Right.
allowing that grief to work you is the most profound gift that it could give you and you could give it. And what that means for me is just saying, I surrender. I'm going to feel this in my body. And there's a difference between allowing it to work you and allowing it to possess you, right? So we tend to say, I am sad. That's not, we're not looking to identify with it. We're looking to still be the sovereign being in our physical bodies. And we're going to track the sensation of the emotion. Where is it showing up in your physical body? How is it making you feel? When you put your full attention on it, what comes up? Are there memories? Are there images? Are there other sorts of senses? And so you're going to stay with it as if you were sitting with a wounded child, right? Or a child who had that same kind of emotion with unconditional attention, and say, I'm here with you. So just tell me what you need me to know. And there are tremendous gifts in that. And if you're feeling like this is too much for me and I need support with it, then reach out for help with a trusted ear, a trusted healer to
Right.
listen, to be able to air what you have to say and what you need.
I know right now the sadness, it's the loss of independence. This has been brewing now for a couple of years. And now all of a sudden it's like, why am I here? What am I worth? It sounds really weird, but it's like such a, and then I sit here and I go, well, what use am I? Just get me off the planet now, because what am I accomplishing here? I can't help anymore. And then I'll get into this really deep sadness. Then at the end, I'll say, you know what? I surrender it to Source. I'm done with this. I don't want to deal with this anymore. You deal with it now. And then it'll go away for a couple of days. Then it comes right back in my face.
Yeah. Yeah, we can surrender things, but to surrender to them and to say, teach me, become my guru, let me know what like work me. That is the best advice that I can give. And also, what
Right?
I'll say is that you're sitting with a very profound question of what is my worth? What is my value? And it's
Right.
it's a question that is not answered adequately in this society that you are held in, because our society, frankly, is broken, it's sick, and it does not recognize the gifts of elderhood, right? That
Right.
aging is actually saging. And this question that's coming up from inside of you of what is my worth? How can I serve? What is my value? That is a crucial one. Allow it to crack you open, because the answer that will come from within is way more profound than anything you will find out there. And that is what is calling you into to be apprentice to it, is your power, is your sageism that is emerging. So listen, we need you. We need elders.
Thank you for that, because I have just turned 70. So, yes, I am in the older population. And it's a shame the way we are treated. And maybe that's like part of it too. Because if people that have health challenges, if you notice the world today, it's all about, you have to see it. You, if you are sight challenged, nobody hears about it. It's like they just expect you not to have any problems. And I
Yes.
know that's the sadness in me too, where it's very challenging. Like, I can't do the computer due to my central vision loss, okay? So my husband has to help me. Yet if you go tell somebody, well, that's why I'm doing it on the phone. Thank God Monisset gets it. He's about the only one that gets it. No offense, but Monisset, you're wonderful for this. You don't know how much I appreciate you for listening on the phone. But this is how I can function right now. Do you know I can do other Zoom programs? They could care less. It's like, read this, read that. Excuse me, I can't. But how do I deal with that? This is every day.
Yeah.
I can't, like nobody listens.
Yeah. Well,
But how do I, as the shadow of me, how do I deal with this? How do I get people to understand? But yet they don't get it. I think that's the frustrating part for me.
Absolutely. And I want to honor you in speaking your truth and educating every one of us who is sitting here, who's listening, who will listen, so that we can really hear you and say, oh my gosh, how are we accommodating people who
You're
don't?
not.
Yeah.
It's true. But, it's like all you hear about, okay, Zoom and the computer. Well, that's all good and well. How am I going to raise my hand when I can't see it? And yet,
so what I can speak to, Sue, is that I have, there is a sister in our circle who also is 70 and also is sight challenged. And over the course of the last 4 years that I've been working with her, she's lost her sight completely. So her husband gets her onto the call, onto the Zoom. We don't mute her. She knows to respect the silence, and then she speaks up when she's ready to speak, when the space is open and she wants to share. And I also do my best to describe orally everything that I'm showing visually, so that she can be tapped into exactly what we're tapping into, and the kinds of gifts that she has, because she is tapped into what resources are in her well, now that her sight has gone by the wayside or shifted. She now has tremendous internal capacity to access her gifts, because she has had to build these senses that have not, to compensate and exceed her sight. So I know there are models out there that can serve you. I honor you. If you want to join our circle, you are welcome, and you will be respected and accommodated. And I see that Jill also has her hand up, so I want to honor her time as well.
But thank you for that. Yes, yeah. I mean, some get it, some don't. Like I said, Monisset understands. Maybe that's why I was meant to bring this out. There's a lot of us out there, but they turn deaf ears to us. They don't want to hear it. Yes. Or they just figure, oh, well. So thank you for at least, I'm hoping I'm helping someone somewhere.
You are, Sue. Thank you.
And thank you for the time. Thank you very much. I much appreciate it. Blessings to you, and blessings also to you, Monisset, for being so kind to me all the time and calling on me. I really appreciate it more than you'll ever know.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Sue. Sending you much love. And also thank you so much, Miriam, for the space you held and the guidance. And yes, so we have a question on YouTube from Kasha. Would it be safe to start a small group just to exchange our new journeys?
Would it be safe to start a small group? Yeah, absolutely. I'm a huge proponent of starting journey groups. I have individuals who are my long-term, in Hebrew, the word is chevruta, so like a study buddy, spiritual study buddy. Kimber is one of them. Sarah is another one of them, right? And we've grown together. So I highly recommend finding that study buddy or creating a small group. And if you're interested in being held in a beautifully tended, unconditionally supportive circle of sisters, then I highly recommend joining the Triple Goddess Circle. We would love to have you.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Miriam, and thank you, Kasha, for your question. We have a question from Kate on Zoom. The last full moon in Sagittarius was very difficult for me, with lots of abdominal pain, and my tinnitus volume doubled. Can you talk a bit about the last full moon? Thank you.
That is, moons they can have universal qualities, and they can have qualities that speak to us individually. Everyone's got their own chart, their own zodiac, and that's not my specialty. So I'll just own that. But I'm tapping into this energy. This is Kate. Is that the name that was given?
Yes, Kate.
Yeah. Okay, Kate. Yeah, I'm feeling an intensity kind of rising up through my front body, the central channel, and primarily in that, oh, it's really intense. It's in the solar plexus, and also I feel it up to the throat. And so the solar plexus is the energy center in which we connect to our sense of self, of who am I. And because this is towards the front, like in front of the solar plexus, this is that front facing who am I, right? And so by tracking energies, not only the sensation of them, the emotion of them, but also where they're showing up in our body, they can tell whole stories about what's going on and what's being opened and shifted. And so what I'm feeling from you, Kate, is this shifting around my front facing identity. Who do I express myself as to the world? And how is that becoming uncomfortable? How is that becoming the next shell or cocoon that I'm ready to shed so that I can step into more of my truth? You may find that you have people out in the world who don't revere you, or who you suspect might not revere you if you were to show them that truth from within, that divine spark that you are. And so what I'm feeling is this sense of like this old identity, this old costume or mask that I've been showing the world that is beautifully shielded, right, and has gotten you here, is ready to hatch off. And so what container, what helpers do you have to hold you, or friends do you have to hold you as you shed this next layer and step into that fullness of your being? And we'd be honored to be that for you in the Triple Goddess Circle.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Miriam. And also thank you, Kate, for your question. So, Jill, can you please unmute yourself?
Hi.
Hi, Jill.
Thank you so much. Hi. This is really beautiful. Miriam, you're so well spoken. Like you explain everything so clearly and distinctly. It's really a pleasure to
Thank you.
listen. Yeah. And so I think my question is pretty similar to Kate's, actually. I'm not sure if you just answered mine. So on May 1st, my cat passed away unexpectedly. And for about a week prior to his passing, my body was really hurting me. And then once he passed, a lot of the pain went away, and then it resurged again. And I do acupuncture and stuff. So I go to one. So I assume that it's meridians and things, but then I was like, oh, maybe it has to do with the full moon and what you just explained. So could you shed any light on that?
Yeah, I'd be honored to. So I'm tapping into your field. So the first thing that happened when you were talking about your cat was I felt this, it felt like a little bit of a stabbing energy, and it felt like it was coming at my solar plexus, but not straight from the front, like from slightly from the left side. So the left side of our energy body is the feminine receptive side. And there's something about like a pang, like something coming at you that, let's see what this has to tell us about itself. So one of the questions I like to ask is, what is the true nature of this when I find something in the energy body that's not inherently ours? This is feeling like grief, but grief almost coming at you like a weapon. So that's kind of interesting. The other thing that I'm feeling in your energy body is Kundalini energy, actually pretty strongly rising up from the root, like from the root chakra, that base of the spine kind of chakra, and this energy that's wanting to flow, that's wanting to rise. And I'd say this is a testament to the kind of energy work that you do, the acupuncture that allows your field to be so clear, your well to be so open. But what I would say is there's this tremendous resource that's partly risen. Like where I feel it to have kind of plateaued is just below or at the heart level. And there's a lot more space for this to flow. And sometimes our fur, what do you call them? Like fur babies, right? Like our pets can become these these helpers in ways that are really profound for us. And it feels like your fur baby is offering you a gift of grief that can actually help you to break open former, crystallization or holding or like a glass ceiling in your heart that will allow that energy to flow and you to embody that goddess energy in all of yourself and not just your lower chakras. And so it's always hard when a pet passes, but in your cat's passing, your cat has left you this tremendous opportunity, this gift to become more of your own goddess self. So I honor both your cat and you.
Thank you so much. You are spot on. I knew right away because there was so much like dry heaving crying that the grief was meant to clear out the grief from my heart from long ago, lifetimes ago. So you're definitely 100% on. But I really appreciate especially the words about the Kundalini and because I'm working on it. So that's really great. And again, I'm very amazed by how you explain it so clearly. It's like I can really visualize things in a different way, the way you say it. So thank you so much, and thank you, Mansa.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Jill. I'm honored. I'm honored, and I'm also in awe of the kind of power and energy that is rising within you. So I'm excited to I'm excited that you're using it as an opportunity to allow it to rise and manifest more fully.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much, Jill. Send you much love, and also thank you so much, Miriam, for the guidance. And we have a feedback from Kate. She wrote, "Wow, thank you. That was spot on. I understood some of that myself before. Thank you for verbalizing and clarifying where to go from here."
It's my
Beautiful.
honor.
Thank you, Kate. And yeah, we have a question from Linda. When clearing, do you have suggestions on how we might do this with more of an ease-filled and graceful, integrated way? I have a tendency to take these clearings on for all ancestors, collectives, and beings of all time and space, and sometimes it seems too big for me to take it all on. On occasions, my angels have stepped in to save me as I've gone over the age. I want to be that which I came here to do my best and healthiest capacity for myself and others. Any thoughts? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. Right? I didn't take notes, but
Yes.
yeah, okay. Thank you for validating that. So with Linda, what I'm feeling is, first of all, you've come here to do big things and you know that, which is why you're taking on these massive clearings. But what's standing in the way of you titrating your clearings in a way that is appropriate for you and your ancestry and the collective is a bit of martyr energy that you have carried in. And this isn't from this life, this is a past life. And so I'm feeling feels like a stabbing in the left shoulder blade, kind of inside of the left shoulder blade as I'm talking about this. So there's something here about past life wounding related to that martyr energy. But sometimes we've taken on these assignments in past lives to carry the energy of the martyr of like, I'm doing something on behalf of the whole. And it feels like that's still there in your programming and it's driving you in ways that are unconscious of like, okay, I can do it. I can handle it. I'm just going to take the whole thing on. And it's like, you don't have to. And part of you knows that, the part of you that spoke up and said, like, how do I stop myself? So my advice to you is to clear the martyr energy, because that will help you to be more compassionate and responsible with what you're taking on and making sure that it is appropriate to what your energy body can handle. Because I know I've gone too far in terms of like clearing stuff out, and it is not fun for anyone, right? Like not just for me, but for those around me. Like, so the martyr energy can backfire when we act from that place. So clear the martyr energy, and you should be in a much better place to gauge what you can take on appropriately.
Yeah. Um, And also, I think like the savior energy, it can be present in for empath a lot, and they feel like responsible for others, and maybe sometimes it feels like selfish to first take care of ourselves and allow others to be responsible of their own journey. But yeah, like you said, I totally agree with your message and what you shared with Linda. So thank you so much, Miriam. And thank you, Linda, for your question.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have Miriam also.
I know, I'm so
Can you
excited
please
to
unmute
see
your
Miriam's
speaker?
hand raised.
Hello.
Hi, Miriam.
Hi, I know. I rarely get to meet a Miriam.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I was trying to put my face in and then you could see another Miriam. There it is.
Hi.
So I'm so grateful for this opportunity for you and for Monsef. And I'm wondering what light you could shed, how you could help me, as I'm also aware of myself as a big being who, yes, has come here, has always done a lot. And yet my physical body is just struggling on so many levels, very debilitating health stuff. And yet I can always hear from my bigger being and source that it doesn't have to be this way, and that there's even quantum leap timeline shifting opportunities, not to avoid anything, but just rather to let go of, as you were talking about, whatever the ways are that we've been assisting that are no longer serving us, and allow more in, like to receive, not just be in the doing and the leading, but to just be able to sit back and receive and let it be easy. And I haven't fully shifted into that, and it's frustrating. And I feel like myself in between worlds. So I'm wondering if you could help me with that.
Yeah, can you distill your question for me? There's a lot that I was taking in as you were talking, and so I want to be really focused.
How I can feel safe and at ease to receive more, let go of some of these heavier, denser beliefs that I seem to be processing a lot for many, and contribute in ways that also allow me to be in my full capacity, feel really good in my body, so I can release the dis-ease.
Yeah. So what I'm feeling from you, Miriam, sorry, is most of the density that I'm feeling is in the lower chakras, so from the solar plexus on down, and primarily like torso, pelvic bowl kind of area. It feels like you're carrying a big weight energetically, and what it feels like would be most supportive for you energetically as a practice is this the imagery, the intention of opening the root chakra, opening the base of your spine, sitting on the earth, and imagining that the light or water or whatever it is washing you through and allowing this density to release. Because sometimes density that we're carrying are meant to crack us open, to work us, and to serve us in that way, like big emotions. But this actually feels like what in Quechua we would call hucha, or heavy energy, an energy that you actually don't need to carry. It's not yours to carry. And so to give yourself permission to put it down. It's like sometimes we're carrying burdens that we actually don't need to, like a backpack that my daughter hasn't cleared out, which has 3 extra textbooks in it. And that's what this feels like to me. And as I was tapping into it, I was tapping into a lot of grief that is related to it. So this feels like grief related lower chakras, and it's about releasing that. And part of the releasing also that I was picking up on for you is about saying, it's also the practice of saying the unsayable, right? Like there may be things that you want to say, right? Or that need to be said that you haven't let yourself say before. And so it's finding that safe ear or that safe circle to express the unexpressible, because that will also help you to put it down and to recognize that it was never yours to begin with.
Thank you very much. And it's true, because my intent is to be a loving presence, not to deny or dismiss, but I know that there's higher love that can transform all of this stuff. But when you're mentioning letting the light or the water wash through the root chakra, I find it very difficult. I love nature. I'm in her as much as I can be, and I can sit on the earth, but it's as though something's blocking my ability to root all the way down. Sometimes I can get a little further, and then it's like my grounding cord wants to roll back up. Is there anything I can do about that?
Yeah, what I'm perceiving, it feels like it's interesting. It's a mirror. So there's like a glass. So you would call it a glass ceiling, the aspect of it that's in your crown chakra, but there's like a glass, I guess, floor, right, in your at the bottom of your root chakra. These feel linked. It's like I won't let myself go there. That's what I hear when I tune into the floor and ceiling, is like I won't let myself go there. There's something about that. And so it feels linked in the front body. And so what I'm wanting to do is just like give it a little tug, right? And to allow yourself to titrate how much you're opening up and releasing, and to do it in ways that feel safe and not unmanageable. So we're just hearing from Linda, right? And it's like, you don't want to take on too much. You just want to do a little bit and see how that feels, and then a little bit more. So you can imagine that there's this like handle that you're kind of pulling, right, to allow a little bit more space. And the image that I'm getting is like, sand. Say that glass floor is holding sand, and you pull it back a little bit, and that sand can drain out. And so it's about allowing that heavy energy, that denseness, to drain in ways that feel manageable. So you can imagine this as something that you can move, and that intention and that imagery will help you to do that.
Thank you very much. And yes, I think what it was coming to me as you were explaining that is this part of that energy that I'm carrying. I'm afraid to unleash it on the world, and I've been protecting the world from it. So I've been calling in the light and the love for it to return to, so that there's no harm to it or anyone, because I believe all energies at their essence are pure divine source and can be utilized in the highest ways versus just sent out and then who knows. So I'll try what you suggested, and I thank you so much. Thank you, Monsef, and thank you, everyone. God bless.
And Miriam, I just want to take a moment and mirror back to you what you just said, which is I was afraid that I would be unleashing my power on the world. Right. And so this is one of these beliefs that we're holding inside that we're not saying. And because we're not saying them, they feel true. Right. And so just in speaking that, I wonder if you might feel that distance that it's giving you, and that clarity of like, this belief that I've been carrying that's been keeping me from putting down this heavy package is actually quite silly, because I have not in judgment, but coming from a place of I've also held these kinds of beliefs that I'm too much, right? But when you speak them, it gives you that sort of objective relationship to them that says, oh my gosh, all this time I've been carrying this baggage that's not mine to carry because I was afraid my power would be too much. But we need your power, Miriam. We need you. You have been given a profound name for a profound reason. And so use the medicine that you have inside of you and bring it and unleash it on the world. We need more of you.
Well, and that's a beautiful, I agree. I've seen visions around the reason that I have my name. But what I was referring to, you did pick up on something that has been a challenge in other lifetimes and in this lifetime, coming into my power when I was okay with it and others were not. But it's an energy that's not mine, that's not my power, that I know that I've been protecting humanity from. It's like the core essence, if you will, of darkness. And been protecting it too, so that it's not utilized in the wrong way as it is released. So that's actually what I was referring to.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And the brightest light hides in the darkest of dark. And you are a light worker. You're here for the good, and you can do this responsibly. You have the resources. And if I can be of service, I'd be honored. So thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for your light. Thank you for you.
Thank you. Thank everyone. Take care.
Yeah.
Hi,
Thank you,
Miriam.
Miriam. And thank you also, Miriam, both of you.
Isn't that fun?
We have a feedback from Linda. Thank you both so much for this response. It resonates so easily, fully, and feels so right. It doesn't have to be as hard as I was making it. So much love and light to all.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Miriam, so thank you so much for everything you shared today. It was really, really inspiring. I loved every message you shared with us. Thank you for the space you held, for the callers and the guidance you gave them, and also for offering the Triple Goddess Circle, you, Sarah, and Kimber, to our audience. So grateful to you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so humbled by this opportunity to serve in a way that feels so juicy and beautiful. And I really honor every single member of this community who has stepped forward, who has entrusted us with your what you've been carrying, your journey, and shared your truth with us. And I would really welcome the opportunity to continue walking with you and serving you. And so please join us. And I really thank all of you for being here. And I thank Monsef for your time and your connection. I really, this was so much more profound than the phone thing. So I loved it. I loved seeing you today.
Yeah. Yeah, I really loved today's call and being able to see you as well. It's it's so much fun, and also the connection, it's become like more deeper this way. So really loved it. So thank you so much, Miriam, and also everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us today, sharing with us your beautiful energies. And whether you are joining on the live call or on the replay, thank you for those who shared their questions, their journeys, and feedback. And again, I invite you to sign up for the Triple Goddess Circle, which is a 6-month program that will start on July 3rd, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's right. If it says it, then yes.
Yeah. And so, and also there are payment plans that so to make it easier for you to sign up. And the link again is yourdivineuniqueness.com/Miriam, yourdivineuniqueness.com/Miriam, MIRIAM. Or you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live events page, later on the replay page. The link also on YouTube video description and on the chat boxes on Zoom and on YouTube. Yeah, Ellen Shirot, thank you, Miriam and Monsef. Miriam, how do we? No, you need to connect directly with Miriam if you want to book one-on-one session. So that's a question from Miriam to Miriam. And
yeah,
so her. Okay.
My website is miriamjkatz.com, miriamjkatz.com, and you can find me there for one-on-one.
Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, so everyone, I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you on the next call. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. And thank you, Ellen, for your hearts and your messages. I appreciated them. Sending a heart right back to you. Oh my gosh, I got the hearts to happen.
All right, so thank you all, and bye for now.